let's finish out this, the last two questions that we're going to do on this page with ordering decimals from least to greatest. So we're going to start with number 11 here. And it says from least to greatest. Let's box that in so that way we know that we have to start small and then get bigger. We're still going to stack our numbers. You can't compare unless it's fair, so we still have to stack our numbers in order to accurately compare. So they already wrote 321 and 499 thousandths. We're going to write this next number next. So I see there's a decimal point. In front of the decimal point is 325. So that works out nicely. Again, I made sure to line them up really neatly so it's easy to compare. And after the decimal point, we have 499. And again, that lines up really, really nicely. Let me just make this look more like a decimal point and less like a comma. There we go. And now I'm going to write this next number, 321 and 489 thousandths. Again, we're going to start with our decimal point, line it all up really nicely. And in front of that decimal point is 321. Again, I want everything neatly stacked. And after the decimal point, 489. Again, everything lines up really, really nicely. You need to make sure that you write neatly. If it is hard for you to line up your digits on paper like this, you can always take notebook paper and turn it so that you have the lines with the columns for the place value. So now you can't compare unless it's fair. Everything is fair here. We don't have to put any zeros in, so now we just go ahead and compare. And we start with the biggest place value. Threes are all the same, so we keep going. Twos are all the same, so we keep going. We have 1, 5, and 1. So I know this one right here is the biggest. This middle number here is the biggest. So I'm going to kind of circle that whole thing. We don't have to pay attention to it anymore. We already know that that is the biggest number. Now it's just a matter of which one comes first, this one on top or the one on the bottom. Again, the one that comes first is going to be the smallest. So let's keep going. We see 4, 4, and 4. Those are all the same. Let's keep going. Oh wait, we don't need to do the middle. I shouldn't have written that 4. We have a 9 and we have an 8. And the 8 is smaller than the 9, so I'm going to say that this one down here is the smallest, which means that our one at the top is the biggest out of the 3. So I'm going to copy down the smallest one, 321, and 489 thousandths is less than. Next is the first one here up top, 321 and 499 thousandths. And finally, it's less than our biggest one in the middle, 325 and 499 thousandths. So there you go. One more to go, number 12. So we have 9 and 7/10, 9 and 6400ths, and 9 and 7800ths. Because these numbers are so close together and I just made a mark here that's not perfectly lined up, I'm going to stack my digits over here. So I'm going to start with 9 and 7/10. Next I have 9 and 6400ths. We're still going from least to greatest. So 9, line up that decimal point. 64. Oh dear, I'm already seeing we're going to have to do some adjusting to make it fair so we can compare. Finally, I'm going to put my decimal point. We have a 9 in front of it and a 78 behind it. So you can't compare unless it's fair. So let's make it fair by putting a 0, imaginary 0, after that 7 up top. Now we have all 3 of our digits neatly stacked. We can see that it is now fair, so now we can compare. Start at the biggest place value. They're all 9s. Let's keep going. We have 7, 6, and 7. So the 6 right here is the smallest. And I'm going to circle it so that I know that I don't need to pay attention to it to figure out which number is the next biggest or which one's the biggest overall. So now I'm going to look at 0 and 8. 8 is, of course, bigger than 0. So this bottom one, 9 and 78/100ths, is our biggest. Boom shakalaka. And now we just write them in order from least to greatest. So starting with the smallest, which would be 9 and 64/100ths, is less than. Now, we could write 9 and 70/100ths, but the actual number was 9 and 7/10. So I'm going to stick with 9 and 7/10. Is less than, finally, 9 and 78/100ths was our biggest. And there you have it.